beware of your tendencies. Now, I've quoted this before. I should look this up. Some great philosopher said, I should look this up. I don't know who said this, but I love the quote. And it's basically this, that a person's character is their destiny. Your character is your destiny, meaning that who we are and the way we're constructed. Now, by character, I don't mean just morals and ethics, good guy, good lady, bad lady. It's not all moral. There's other aspects of our makeup, our character, that tend to operate in, here's the word, characteristic ways. See, when you watch a movie, it has different characters. Now, all of those characters could be people of good character. If we only see character as meaning moral or ethics, moral character or ethical character, it's more than that. That's foundational. But character is the formulation of the construction of who we are. Okay. So you watch this character in a movie, well, you kind of know how that character is going to behave in the next scene or the next act or through the arc of the movie. Sometimes there's a character arc where people go through character transformation and changes, but it's about who they are characteristically. Now, we are like that. And you can pretty much expect somebody to be the same person tomorrow that they were yesterday over a period of time, because we learn what they're like and what their tendencies and patterns are. Okay. My wife and I can go to dinner. I can guarantee you what she's going to order is going to look like. Most of the time, she has a tendency to get something very healthy and leafy and green of varieties. She's going to have a couple of other healthy, great veggie choices. She's going to have a healthy piece of protein in there. And somebody across the table is going to look very different than that. Well, we got the triple decker animal style cow that's still breathing with French fries sticking out of its ears, because that's pretty much what you can expect that person to be ordering. I'm not poking any, fingers at anybody on camera right now, but we can tend to kind of expect it. One of my favorite stories, I think I put this in a book or two. Tori and I were down in South Louisiana one time, where there's just rural roads and, going through the swamps 60 miles north or south of New Orleans, down in the bayous. And so we were going to visit some friends who never had been there, and they gave us the address. But it's kind of like, let's just say it's not the most, marked system of freeways down in this backwater place. So anyway, we're wondering, kind of turned around, we don't not quite know if we're there. So I pull in this gas station and I go in and ask the guy, can you tell me where, how to get to blah, blah, blah. And he says, yeah, it's pretty easy. You just going down the road, it'll be, be a few miles, and you'll see a German Shepherd lying in the grass. Right there, it looks like a corner. And right where that German Shepherd's lying in the grass, you turn right. And I looked at the guy and I said, seriously? That's your directions? I go, what if the German Shepherd's not there? And he goes, oh, he'll be there. I said, but what if he's not? He goes, he'll be there. And that's all I could get out of it. Well, we drive down the road for, however far. And there's a German Shepherd lying in the grass. And so we turned right and we found our friend's house. That's character. Okay. Doesn't mean great, bad, good. It's who that dog is. He's going to be there. He's predictable. All right. Well, so are you and I, for the most part. Now, here's what I want to particular focus on. There's all sorts of typology tests and tests out there that show people's styles. You got the Myers-Briggs and you got the Enneagram and you got all these things. You take this snapshot and it's going to say, you have a tendency to, when in conflict, do A, B, or C, or you have a tendency to, and it's kind of characteristically until you change how you're going to show up. Well, that sucks. All right. Well, newsflash, our tendencies aren't always so productive, fruitful, helpful, or stellar. Sometimes we will have tendencies that are come from our temperaments. We also have tendencies that come out of our conflicts or our injuries or our traumas. And so we will have default tendencies in the way that we tend to operate that don't really service us well in all areas of life. Now, there's a lot of different systems, some better than others, a lot of different ways to look at this, some better than others. I'm just going to pick one that I find particularly helpful. And it comes from a woman named Karen Horney, who was a famous psychoanalyst out of the British school back in the middle of the early middle of the last century. And basically, she just had this very simple but really powerful kind of typology. She said there were kind of three different tendencies that are consistent that people tend to have. Now, here's the problem. All three of those tendencies would be good for all of us to have. If we have the agility and the facility and the faculties to be able to choose which one is appropriate for the moment. But until we grow to that place, we're going to kind of operate on our default pattern. You open up your word processor and a document's going to come up and it's going to default to a certain font, right? That's what it chooses by default. Now you can get above that and say, that's not the best font for this letter, and you can change. It's a little bit kind of in a rough analogy what we're talking about here. So here's Horney's three tendencies. She will say that you are either a moving towards person, a moving against person, or a moving away person. All right. Now, particularly, let's just take where that tends to kind of fall out problematically sometimes, as well as an opportunity, but also in the context of conflict. So you take some people, they get into a disagreement, a conflict, or a challenge with a person. What they'll do is if the person disagrees or pushes, hard or something, and they're moving towards person, to them, joining is the way out of conflict. So what does that look like in not a good way? Okay, you're right. Yeah, okay. Yeah, all right. Well, let's do it your way. Yeah, okay. That's fine. Because joining and being together for them is safety, and succumbing and putting the ears back and submitting. That's a characteristic style. Now, that's a very good way to operate in many, many situations. In some situations, it's not. If you're with a controlling person or a self-centered person or somebody that doesn't want to do something that's good or ethical or moral or even good for you, but it's conflictual, and your tendency is to, anytime there's a conflict, I'm just going to join and make peace. Watch that. Be aware that when you pull up the word processor, you're going to default to that font of, okay, I'll agree with you, anything to make peace. All right. Not good in some situations. Got to be aware that that's your tendency, and to be careful to not do it by default, but to do it by choice when appropriate. Moving towards. Second one, moving against. Some people immediately in a conflict, they'll just push harder. They just push against, move against, because they're more aggressively in doubt or defensive or whatever it is. Whoops. And that tends to be their default. Well, if we're persuasive and sort of like a, Enneagram 8 type, if you're into that, you kind of, you sort of push and persuade. That's a stupid way to operate in a lot of conflict, because we're going to shut people down. We're going to drive them away. If they're a moving towards type, they're just going to join us and we hadn't resolved anything. So moving against all the time immediately and pushing, not always the good default pattern. Okay. If you got a teenager, watch out. Because if you're moving against, you're going to butt heads or you're going to crush them. And neither one of those is a good way to raise a teenager or resolve a lot of marital conflict or even complete a sale. Okay. So sometimes we want to move against. If somebody's coming with something hurtful, evil, destructive, aggressive, sometimes we want to set a limit and step into it and say, no, 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 I don't like that. No, I'm not going to do that. Stop that. I'm not going to allow that behavior. There is a time for moving against, but not always. What they'll your tendency, your pattern, sometimes maybe the German Shepherd would be better off to go down the road because there's a dog food company having a free buffet that day. Might be good one day to not do your tendency. And then the last one is the moving away. And sometimes if there's anything, well, we'll just kind of shrink back and be quiet and not talk. We won't move towards and agree and make peace. We won't move against. Just sort of go quiet, detached, go into the other room, unplug, go into the garage and work on your woodworking or go read your phone or not call the person. And there's a moving away from conflict where it tend to be conflict avoidant, for example, or challenge avoidant. There's a new opportunity and risk. Hey, let's go skiing. No, or you don't return that call or whatever. Moving away from something that's uncomfortable. Sometimes moving away is smart. There's a proverb that says the prudent person sees danger and hides themselves. Okay? You move away. And it says the simple are the naive. One of my favorite verses, Proverbs 23, something, I think it's 4. The prudent will keep going instead of move away from danger. God has given you all three of these as capacities. Might have a predominant style. That's okay, but is it done default or is it done by choice? And if you're a moving towards person, you got to integrate some moving against and some moving away parts. If you're moving against person, sometimes you got to shut up and move towards somebody with love, compassion, empathy, or sometimes you better drop it and get away from that fight and move away. And sometimes if you're a moving away person, it might be good to show up. So just look at your automatic tendencies and say, my first impulse is to, and then hit pause and say, is that the best way to be? Okay. Check your tendencies, be aware of them. It is a wise thing to do. And sometimes in talking with people, they're going into something, and I'll find myself saying, I think this is a helpful thing to say, I got to warn you, you have a tendency to, in situations like this, make them aware of it. I'm trying to highlight it so it's in their awareness and they can maybe quarantine themselves against that. All righty. Let's go to the questions. Let's start with what we've got on people posting on some of the social platforms. Let me see here. We're still waiting for some of those to come in. Here's one from Facebook. Donna asks this: I'm feeling stuck in my relationship with the man I married 38 years ago. Besides having no relationship other than roommates, and I overfunction in a relationship on many levels, I often run on an empty love tank. I'm also recently moved across the country away from my family and friends. My question is, what can I do to keep my emotional, physical, and mental health, and also also physical health? Well, that's so sad. To feel alone in a marriage is probably one of the most alone places somebody can be, even more alone than if they were by themselves, because the longing is there and the need's there, and it goes unfulfilled. You're in a perpetual state of loss, and that's depressing. So, first thing I would say is, even if you had a great marriage, okay, you have moved and you're away from your family and friends. that's not a good place to be, even in a good circumstance in life, especially in a difficult circumstance where you're going to have to deal with some issues with him. You can't do that out of a vacuum. So I would make the first thing, not you're not resolving the relationship, but finding the proper help and support that you need. And it might be professional, a good therapist, a good marriage counselor, even that you go see by yourself, a good support group, and begin to make some friends and join a community. I really want you grounded. And until then, stay in touch with your old friends, but don't use them to avoid setting up a new community. We need to be grounded. Now, from there, I don't know what you've tried with your husband. Generally speaking, in 38 years, you probably tried something. But I would just question, have you explained to him from a vulnerable place how lonely you are? And just tell him you really feel alone. And ask him, does that matter to him? Most times people say, well, yeah, I mean, I don't want you feeling that way, or they'll see some way. But when you come at it from a vulnerable place, just talking about how you feel, sometimes that'll at least start a conversation. And you might not get to any resolution, but it at least gets them going enough to where they might agree with you to go get some help. Second thing is, I would look at, you said you're over functioning, which may mean that you're carrying a lot of the load and he gets a lot of pseudo intimacy and time with you and a lot of other goodies that he's not actually participating and investing and working to get. For example, a lot of times in a scenario like this, somebody would just stay home with a person and they're not getting talked to or not really responding. And what you could do is say, would you like to go for a walk or would you like to do something? And then they go, no, they leave you alone. Say, well, I'm going to go to my friend's house then, or I'm going to do this. And for the first time, when you begin to build a life that is richer and fuller, that can pull a disengaged person, first of all, into realizing how alone they are, because it can be masked by the over-functioning party. When they pull out and stop over-functioning for the other person, then they hit their loneliness and they start to make movement. And thirdly, you can just put down the boundary and say, look, we're going to marriage counseling. And if you don't go, I'm going, and I'm going to go to talk about our marriage because I got to figure out, what to do here. And sometimes that wakes somebody up as well. So sorry you're in that. I hope that is helpful. Really short notice. Okay, here's another one from Facebook. Priscilla, if I'm dating a person and he tells me he's dating other people, should I continue dating him? He's still on a dating site. Well, kind of depends. When you say that you are dating him, what does that mean? Okay, meaning you're going out casually a few times, this and the other. There's a healthy period when people are dating and they're not, you say, I am dating. Well, are you in a relationship or are you dating? There's a period where people are dating and they're dating. Okay, they go out with Joey and Tommy and Sam and, whoever. People always tell me I use, really outdated names. I need to get I need a cue card of some fancier, some Camerons and some new names. Anyway, so you're dating a bunch of guys and he's dating a bunch of women because you're just dating. And then what happens is gradually somebody starts to stand out in the crowd, and then you begin to get interested in them. And then there's that in between time where both are happening, but then ultimately, not ultimately, but the next stage was you get to the DTR talk to find the relationship, and you find out, all right, I'm really enjoying our time. I'm interested more than just casually. I think I like you. And is that mutual? I mean, are we both in the same place? And if we are, what does that mean? Maybe we should agree to stop dating other people. And you have a conversation about it, because it's for I hate to use this word, but it's kind of it's a contractual relationship. What's our agreement? Contract's an agreement. Like, what's our agreement? So if he's in a place where he's still on dating sites and he hasn't committed to being exclusive with you, then you just need to have the conversation and find out where you stand. Now, here's what I want to warn you against. Don't act exclusive with somebody that's not acting exclusive with you. That's where the problem is. The problem is when you're having one kind of relationship and he's having another kind of relationship, you're going to get hurt. So you got to talk about it and you got to get it out there. And I think the last part was, should I continue dating him? It depends on what he says. And if you want to be in that kind of scenario with him, it may be that you're falling too hard for somebody that's not interested in being exclusive with you. And then it's time, probably most cases, unless there's some reason to think that you're going to win him over. And he says, maybe, and all that, and you're willing to go through that. Yeah, but it's just got to all be out in the open. That's what we need to be thinking about. All righty, let's go to the phones. And Christy's calling us from Georgia, watched on YouTube. How do I navigate a difficult relationship with my in-laws without it affecting my marriage? If it were up to me, we wouldn't see them. There's a lot of people feel that way. How do I get my husband to see that he doesn't have boundaries with his parents? All righty, Christy, welcome to the Dr. Cloud Show.
Hi.
How are you?
Hi, Dr. Cloud. I'm great. How are you?
Well, I'm pretty well out here in, I started to say sunny Southern California, which is really not that sunny today. It's a little chilly. I keep turning on my heater here in my study. But anyway, let's all go to lunch, you and your in-laws. Sounds like a party.
No, thanks.
It sounds like you don't want to go to lunch with them.
I do, though. I want to have a
Now, wait a minute.
relationship
My question
with
is up
them.
on the screen here. It says, if it were up to me, we wouldn't even see them.
Well, that's where I am now. But truly, deep down, I do want to have a relationship with them. I want a relationship with them like I have with my parents.
Are they capable
I've
of
just
that?
been hurt.
Are they capable
No.
of that?
No,
All
they
right,
are
well,
not.
well, then let's start there. It might not be smart to want something that somebody's incapable of doing. That could be frustrating.
It is, and that makes me sad.
There you
that
go.
people are
There you go.
incapable.
There you go. Rock star, you just hit the key to life. Sadness. I'm dead serious. I mean, we got to be sad about stuff that ain't going to be. And once we're sad, then we can get over it and then we can deal with what is. We need to deal with what is, not what we want something to be. All right. So what's their incapacity? What are they not able to do?
Just basic, not manners. I don't want to say manners, more etiquette. We have, like they call it, strange rules with our son based on Facebook. Like, don't post pictures. Don't buy extravagant presents. Do not show up with a present every single time you see him.
No, wait a minute. Stop.
But
Stop.
they do
Stop.
all
Stop.
of those
Stop.
things.
Hold on. I was confused. I thought you said you had rules. Your son wasn't allowed to post pictures, and then you went into
No,
presents.
they are.
You're talking about you don't
of
want
him.
them putting up pictures of him on a public, not a private Facebook?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. How old is your son?
Just turned 2.
Oh, well, okay. So you're in the guardian and protecting mode of your son. You don't want him out on the internet.
Yes.
Okay.
They every boundary that we set, they do not respect it. It's just a respect thing. They just do not respect me as my child's mother.
Okay,
And
hold
they
on a
most
second. Hang
certainly
on,
do
hang
not
on, hold on.
respect.
I gotta clarify something here. What you said was every boundary that we set, and then you said they don't respect me. So is it a we set these boundaries, you and your husband, and they violate them, or is it you're setting them and your husband's not on the same page?
Both. Both of those. So we set the boundaries, and then when they cross the boundaries, my husband doesn't have a voice. He will try to say, this is the boundary we set, you crossed it. When they don't respond well to that,
What do they do?
it's just like, well, oh my goodness, cuss him out.
What?
You know,
Cuss?
oh yes, yes.
He'll
Just
say,
just
he'll say, we don't
disrespect.
want you putting pictures of our boy out on the internet. And then what do they say?
Well, that's our grandson and we deserve to do this.
Well, that's not cussing.
Things like, well, I'm not gonna say what they I'm not gonna say what they actually say, but just to that effect. And it doesn't start out like that. They'll listen to begin with, but then they go back and they stew on it and they get angry, and then it's just like they come back and just attack him. And then when they attack him, he retreats because he doesn't want the confrontation. And that's
Okay.
what he has done his whole life.
All right.
So
How old is
he's 31.
31?
Yes.
Does he like this arrangement psychologically with mama and daddy?
No.
What does he do
But
with his
that
belly full of ache?
smokes it away or handles it in a not so great way.
Like what?
But he's working on it. He is
Oh,
working
he
on it.
is. He's working on it.
He is. Yes, 100%. He has come so far since we've gotten married.
Oh,
And he is working on it. He's
this
supposed
is
to be a
wonderful.
counselor.
He's got a counselor.
Yes, absolutely.
Got a
Yes.
counselor. And he goes to his counselor and says, my mama's got control of me. What do I do? Is that what he says?
I
My
hope that's what
daddy's
he
got
said.
control of me. What do I do? Does he say that? Does he say they're doing this and I'm incapable, counselor? What do I do?
No, I don't know what he says. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. He's very strong-willed until the pushback, and then when the pushback happens, his phrase is, "That's just how they are. That's just how they are," and it's like we're supposed to just accept that that's
Okay.
how they are.
All right.
And
So
that's
I'm
where
gonna
it
go
ends.
back to I will go back to your question or my question.
Okay.
What do I do? Okay. And here's what I would love to see. Maybe you could say he's working on it because you have a partner in this. Okay. What if you said to him, sweetheart, this is hurting me. I need you to do something. This is hurting me. Instead of saying you need to grow up and you need to be different with your parents and this and the other, make it a problem that you have, which is I'm really being hurt by your parents. Can you understand
Right.
how this is hurting me? I would approach it that way.
Okay.
And then when he says, well, of course, then say, okay, what can we do? And if he says, well, I don't know, that's just the way they are, I would say, yes, that is the way they are. So what can we do where I stop being in pain over this? And if he says, I don't know what to do, then say, well, then let's go talk to somebody who can help us know what to do because I can't live like this. So you come at it from, this is what it's causing me. I need you with me to help us to stop this from happening because I'm hurting. And then
Okay.
two options. That's just start there. Go with you, not him. And then two options. Make it a we problem and say, okay, what can we do to protect our son and to protect us, and this and the other? And if you and I can't come up with the answers, then let's go talk to somebody together because I got to get out of this pain.
Right.
Because it sounds like you got a good guy here, and he's caught in bondage.
Yes. Yes, he is. He's excellent. Honestly, I tell him often, I do not know how he is a product of that. But he says he's trying to be everything they're not, which that's also sad.
Well, give him one more thing on his to-do list to be that they're not. You ready?
Yes.
Sweetheart, I'm so glad that you're trying to be everything that they're not. I'm so glad because I couldn't be married to them. I'm glad I married you. Let me give you one more thing that they're not that I want you to be. They don't care about how I feel. I want you to care.
That's great.
I want you to protect me. And so you make it a problem about your pain. And then you can say, and also it makes it hard to be close to you sometimes because I kind of feel like you care more about what they feel than I do. So I just go at it from your pain with him. Does that help?
That is perfect. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time.
Are you a member of boundaries.me? Give me the right answer.
I'm not. Unfortunately, I do listen to your podcast all the time.
What? Okay. Well, you are now. I'm going to give you a free membership. And once you get on there, I want you to, it's going to be a Boundaries Plus membership. And that includes all of the workshops. There is a 2-hour webinar workshop on boundaries.me available for Plus members. It's called The Marriage Equation. And the second one that I want you to look at is The Art of Confrontation. And I want you guys to go through that together and talk about how it applies to your in-laws. So congratulations. Thank you for your call. And I hope you get a lot out of that. And the rest of you can go to boundaries.me, become a subscriber, and you can access stuff like that too. All righty. Let's talk to Chris, who's calling from YouTube in Pennsylvania. Hey, Chris, I'm going to ask you for a favor. Just went through a breakup. They were together for 6 months. She is his sister's best friend. Oh, this is going to get into some fun stuff. I got scared that neither of us were ready emotionally for a relationship. How do I heal these emotional wounds that stem from my parents' divorce? Chris, welcome to the Dr. Cloud Show.
Hello, Dr. Cloud.
Hello, man. I'm sorry you dated your sister's best friend and it didn't turn out well.
Oh, it's tough. It's actually just happened yesterday, and it breaks my heart to lose her because that's I really don't want to lose her.
Wow, what happened?
But I feel like so she actually broke up with her ex, who they were dating and actually living together for a year, and they dated for a year, and they broke up at the beginning of summer. And
was that the same year? Was that the same year?
Of
They
this year
together. No, you said they dated for a year and they lived together for a year. Are we talking about
2
1
years
year?
total.
So they lived together when they weren't dating?
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
They lived together when they were not dating. That's interesting.
Oh, I'm sorry. They lived together when they were dating. I thought you were.
So they dated for 2 years.
I'm sorry.
They dated for 10
Yes,
years.
they dated. Yes.
Okay, so they were married, right? So then she broke up with him, and how long was she before she started dating you?
Yes. So I knew her for a while due to her being friends with my sister. And this is
Yeah. How old
something
are
that
you
I just
guys?
feel horrible. I'm
How old are you?
21 and she's 24.
And your sister's 24?
Yeah, and so is she.
Okay.
And
So she's all right.
uh and so when I heard she broke up, I reached out and I started actually reading your book, Change That Heal, before this decision. And I never really had a peace about making this decision because I have a relationship with God. I'm actually saved. And I knew in my spirit the whole time that you talk about, when you're unequally yoked, it's kind of like death. And I ended up not following my heart, and I ended up reaching out to her. Probably within, it was so quick after she broke up, and I just feel horrible about that. And
Why
over
do you
the
feel
summer,
horrible?
and
Feel horrible in what way? Like you're critical
I
of
feel as
yourself?
if I feel as if I never let her to grieve. I let her skip the stage of grieving, and
Oh, wait a minute.
when
Whoa, whoa.
she
So
got
you
with
feel
me,
horrible. You feel horrible about her, not feel horrible about you.
I feel horrible about not giving her a chance to grieve. I don't know if
Well,
it's
she's
me or
not.
her that I feel horrible about.
She's a 24-year-old woman. She made a choice.
Okay.
Yeah, you didn't do that to her. It might have been unwise. Um, and I can understand what you're saying. You, in hindsight, for a lot of reasons, for her and for you, would have been good to say, you know what, you need some time away and all that. So I understand that. But, this isn't all you. She made a choice as well. So she didn't grieve, and y'all started dating, and you dated for how long? 6 months, it says?
Yeah, just broke up yesterday, actually.
And you broke up why?
I feel as if that God wasn't in the center of our relationship. I feel that she was my center of my life. I feel like I've given all, literally everything in me other than going to school and my internship over the summer. I feel as if I put her first and I didn't put God first. And I've had an uneasy feeling about it. And then on
You mean
top of that,
you
I
started,
could
did
just
you started, did you start to, you just blew God off and she was your whole life and you didn't have a relationship with him anymore?
absolutely, yeah.
Okay. Well, that's not helpful for you or, you know, um, because you're going to be the best with her if you're number one with him, right? That's just the way life works. So, so what's your
Yeah.
question? This is a lot of pain. You went through a breakup, or one day out of this, you're probably hemorrhaging, right? You're bleeding. It hurts.
Yeah, it does hurt. And I just want to know some of my next steps to take because I really do want to follow God. But at the same time, I hate to lose her, but it really breaks my heart when you get attached. And unfortunately, when you start to become intimate before marriage, I just feel like you get attached to a point that's even deeper.
It is.
And I'm just tugging between the thought of, oh, she's gonna go just to the next guy, and how's that gonna make me feel? And I feel uh like following God is like kind of a lonely process.
Why? Because that's the opposite of what he says.
I don't know.
I mean, I believe
Okay.
you. I believe you that that's your experience, but I'm asking why. Because what he says, if you go to the book of First John, it says our fellowship is with him and complete with one another. And so
I just
what
feel as if I never have had a deep relationship with someone who's really wants to follow God with all their heart. So I just feel alone.
Yes. And so I am going to give you a formula that I want you to follow. Okay. I want you to have some relationship with people who want to follow God deeply, that are non-romantic and do not have the possibility of becoming romantic.
Okay.
Follow me? All right. So here's the deal. It sounds like, for whatever reason, probably in your history, there's kind of a path of not having enough connection in your life at a deep level. Some loneliness and isolation, emotional.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Most
Is that
definitely.
right? Okay.
Yeah.
So
it feels safer.
is it? A
No,
car
I don't think it is.
without gas, a car without gas won't have a wreck and it won't blow up. But is it in better shape than a car with gas that's driven well?
No.
See, that C.S. Lewis says this. He said there is a place. Yeah, it's safe. He said there is one place where you can be protected from the possibilities and experiences of being hurt by love, and that place is hell. And so what's happened is it is safer because you've been hurt somewhere, maybe in your family growing up, maybe who knows, but you've been injured and you've seen isolation as a safer place to be, which it is in the way that I won't get food poisoning if I don't eat. But ultimately, that's not safe because you starve yourself to death. And so what's happened
Okay.
in a place of loneliness, I'm not faulting for you for this. This is a normal or a common pattern. In a place of loneliness, sometimes people see the answer to their loneliness as a romantic relationship and finding that person that's going to end my aloneness. Now, here's the problem. That goes against the created order of God's design. I want you to watch the math on this, or the architecture. God designed us to begin life as very emotionally dependent on non-romantic relationships. Mom, dad, siblings, our family, then to a group of friends and a community. And that fills up your tummy to where you're no longer alone on the planet. You're complete, you're robust, you're strong, you're not dependent because you're in good, dependent, interdependent relationships and community that fill you up. And from that strong position, you go out and you pick one to have a romantic relationship from a strong place, not a lonely place. Now, when people are isolated and alone, back to the book Changes That Heal, when they don't have the kind of bonding they need, out of that vacuum, they'll seek love for their connection needs in a romantic relationship first before their belly is full with a lot of good, strong food of people that love them, and they make poor choices. And that's just the way it works. So you're not bad. You're very, very normally, it's a common thing. So I want you to reverse the process, go back to the book, like Changes That Heal says, and get in some deeply, deeply connected relationships that aren't romantic. And when you're not lonely anymore, then you'll go pick a better one But in those relationships, they'll be complete relationships because they're people that are following God, and you will have fellowship with Him and them and you and your heart and your spiritual life and your need for community all in one place and launch off from a very strong foundation.
Okay.
That's what I want for you. Do you live in a big town?
All right.
Do you live in a big
I
town?
actually go to school. I go to school in Erie. I'm in my senior year. I know there's a church around here. I might try to join a small group or something.
There you go. Start there. Go talk to the pastor. Tell him exactly what you told me. And say, I need some community to build me up where I can be with other people that love God and love me. And I need a small group like that. And I'd probably go see a good therapist to work on these bonding issues. And I'm going to tell you this, you are going to hurt for a minute because you just had a breakup. Okay. You're going to be sad.
Mm.
But without judging her, I don't mean she's bad, but what you've described, I think you dodged a bullet here.
Okay.
Because it doesn't sound like she's ready to be who you need. A, she's not connected to him, and you need that. And B, she sounds like she goes from one relationship to another, and you said she's about to probably get another one. And that's a very dependent woman. And you want a strong woman where the two complete people come together and become one, not a half a person and a half a person.
Well, that calms me down. Thank you.
There you go. All right. Thank you for your call. It's a great call. I'm going to gift you a couple of workshops. One is how to get a day worth keeping, but the other is restoring our brokenness. And that's both of those are on our platform at boundaries.me. And also, you know what? Let's stick with those two. Okay, how to get a day worth keeping and also restoring your brokenness. And I think those might be helpful to you. I forgot to ask you my favor, but now I've lost you because you're from Pennsylvania. Is Chris still there?
Yeah, he is.
Chris, are you there?
Hang on a second. He's patching him back through. I'm patching him through right now. He's here.
Chris, have I got you?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you, Dr. Cloud. That's all.
Oh, you're very welcome. I'm going to ask you for a favor.
Okay.
You live in Pennsylvania?
Yeah.
You ever eat tasty cakes?
No.
Oh.
Tasty cakes?
Boy,
what is tasty cakes?
Tasty cakes. Oh, yes. I think they're only available.
Is it good?
Are they good? Yeah.
Pancakes?
No, they're these little kind of like all sorts of chocolate and vanilla and all. They're kind of, I don't know, they're kind of like these like snack food that are probably not the healthiest thing in the world if you're trying to lose weight. But anyway, I was gonna get you to send me some, but don't do that. Go try them for yourself. I always ask for free tasty cakes from my Pennsylvania listeners. All right. Well, thank you, Chris. I appreciate your call. Actually, I had a couple of callers that literally sent me some from Pennsylvania. They sent me some chocolate and tasty cakes, and I was in heaven. Probably shouldn't be right now. You know, I was on a great weight gain program. If any of you guys want a good program to gain weight, then I've had 3 surgeries in the last 2 years, and I basically just hadn't been able to walk. I sat in the chair for 2 years and continued to eat. And if you just sit in the chair for 2 years and continue to eat, you'll be like me. You'll gain some weight. So if you want to try that, I wouldn't suggest it, by the way. I would say don't do that. But now I'm on the mend, and now I'm walking again. And as of yesterday, I think I hit 16 pounds that I've lost since I've been walking. So maybe it's a good thing you're not sending me those tasty cakes. All righty, let's go back to some of the steps getting posted on social. Christina calling us or posting her question on Facebook. Here it is. How do you say, I care about you, but it's not the right time to go to the next level? He's going through a divorce and drinking more than he should. He's been a friend. I tried, but I fumble around tongue tied. What was that? What was the song? That it was, oh my gosh, you got to go listen to this song. How could, okay, I'm gonna, let me see if I can find that. There it is. Macy Gray had a great song. And I'm going to tell you these lyrics, Christina. She says, games, changes, and fears. When will they go? Where will they go from here? When will they stop? I believe that fate has brought us here and we should be together, babe, but we're not. I play it off and I'm dreaming of you. I'll keep my cool, but I'm fainting. And then she says this. It's exactly what you said. I try to say goodbye and I choke. I try to walk away and I stumble. Though I try to hide it, it's clear. Now she's actually hung up on this guy. You're wanting to get away. It sounds like for other reasons anyway. Try to walk away and you stumble. Love those lyrics. So you try, but you fumble and get tongue-tied. All right. Generally, when we are trying to say something, particularly around a necessary ending, which this is, I wrote a book about that called Necessary Endings, endings that are necessary for something good to happen. For something good to happen in your dating life, to find somebody who's not going through a divorce and isn't ready yet, and find somebody who's sober might be a good requirement for a serious relationship. This is a necessary ending, right? So he's drinking more than he should. He's going through a divorce. You looked at this and you said, like the proverb I quoted earlier, the prudent sees danger and they run away, but the naive and the simple keep going. So you know what you got to do here. I commend you for it. And I do share your care for him and desire for him to get well. I'm going to push back on one thing you said. How do you say I care about you, but it's not the right time to go to the next level? Okay, true, but I would add to that, why? It's not the right time just because it's Monday at 3:15 or whatever time it is, wherever you are. It's not the right time because I think I'm looking for a relationship with somebody that isn't in a healing place and also isn't avoiding their healing by drinking. So I'm looking for a relationship with somebody that's sober. Now, you're my friend. I care about you, and that's what I want for you. And I would talk about my concern for him. Be clear about, I'm not going forward here, but I hope that you get sober. And I would suggest you go into recovery. And I would suggest you go into divorce recovery. Because being in a relationship with me, while you're going through a divorce, that is 6 carts before the horse. And it's really, really, really important, I think, for you, my concern for you, to say you get into divorce recovery and you get healed and you get sober. If after you've been sober for a year and you're in recovery, if you're in a different place, contact me. And I'll tell you at that time, whether I'm in a new relationship or not, or whether I'm open, or whether, I don't know where I'll be. Feel free to contact me. But right now, it's not the right time for those reasons. Now, you get tongue-tied. So here's what I would suggest to you. You've got to find out, why do you get tongue-tied? That's called an aggressive conflict, meaning you're trying to say something that comes out of our aggressive drive, which is a good drive, not an angry drive, but energy, aggression, assertiveness, to push something away. But some people, their aggressive functions is what psychologists call them. They get into conflict because if I do this, somebody's going to hurt. Yes, that's true. You are going to end something and he's going to be sad. He also may be having some reaction to your confronting him. And sometimes people can't do things that they feel hurt another person. Okay. That's not the way to evaluate doing the right thing. The way we evaluate doing the right thing is not whether or not it might be painful for someone to hear, which is hurt, but whether it is harmful for them to hear, which is injurious. See, we don't want to do things to injure people. You want to do things sometimes that might hurt a little bit, but they won't harm somebody because it could be an opening for him to face the truth. So I would first of all realize, what's your fear? Are you afraid of that he's going to feel a little hurt from this? Well, he's a big boy and he's dating, and that's what happens when we date. So you can't over-identify with those feelings, and you can care about them and feel very empathic and loving when you do it and say, I know this is going to hurt. It's going to be painful, but it's not the right time. And I'm sorry it's hurtful for you. Be very empathic and offer, the suggestion for him to get some help. The other thing is the hurt may be on your side, that maybe you get tongue-tied because you're like my Macy Gray song, that you walk away and you stumble. You can't walk away because you're longing for him. And that's where I think you need to get in a good support place that'll help you work through this grief and deal with the pain. So a lot of stuff there, Christina. I want you to become a member of boundaries.me and look at how to get a date worth keeping. And maybe that'll help you. All righty. Let's go back to the phones. And where are we? Tammy is calling us from Facebook. She listens on Facebook from Tennessee. Her husband lives in another state and doesn't think there's a problem in their marriage. What can I do to help my marriage? He won't go to counseling. Tammy, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Lives in another state.
Yes, sir. Yes. He travels and he comes home probably about 5 or 6 weeks. After 5 or 6 weeks, he comes home. And he's home Friday. Oh, yeah. He comes home on Friday evening and he leaves again Sunday morning.
And then he's gone 5 more weeks?
Yes, sir.
So
And
he's home. He's home a total of 50 nights a year.
Yes, sir.
Has it always been that way?
No, just the last 3 years. We got into some financial trouble, and he had bought a lot of different stuff, and we got into financial trouble, so he took a much higher paying job. And
well, that's good.
Yes, I'm glad. It's just that there is no connection in our marriage, intimate, physically, or anything. And I don't know. I mean, he's not like beats me or anything like that, but we're not emotionally connected at all. And I'll ask him about it, and he'll say, I'm nagging, and this is just where we are, and I just need to accept it. And I've asked him to FaceTime me. He won't FaceTime me because he don't like that. And then after I put the kids in bed, we're supposed to talk at 8:15, but he started calling me at 7. And I told him, I said, I'm trying to get everybody ready, but if you'll just give me till 8:15, my schedule will be clear. And I learned that from you. Thank you. And so I don't know. Most of the time, I just feel like I'm crazy. That he provides great for us. It's just that we have no relationship. And he says that he's about that all I'm about is feelings, and he is about facts.
Well, tell them the facts are we don't have a relationship.
Okay. I should,
the facts.
when I try.
So how long were y'all in a relationship before you hit this difficulty? And he's gone to work for 3 years to pay off this debt.
The debt is paid for this year. I'm telling you, the Lord did it, not me. But the economies went crazy. Everybody buying and selling, and so I took it upon myself. I started praying and everything, and I got our house ready, got it painted, got the inside redone, got some excavation work done, and we sold our house, and now we're totally debt-free of everything. We own our acreage now, our cattle. We own everything we have is paid for now in full.
So he
And
doesn't
we're in a rental house.
he doesn't need to be living in another state anymore financially.
Well, he says he does because now we have to build a house. We sold our house and we have 100 acres that we raise cattle and different animals on. And now he doesn't. Now he said we have to build a house. And I said, I don't care what we live in. I mean, something very modest, because we went from a very large house and now we're living in a rental house that's very small and it's perfect. I mean, not that I want to live in a rental house for the rest of my life, but I just want us to work on our relationship.
Yeah.
And
okay.
And
how long were you together before this happened?
This year marked our 30th year. We've been married 30 years. And
30 years. Now, was there no relationship before the 20 years?
Oh, no. We've been best friends. I mean, we were very active in church together. And I know that don't solve all your problems, but we were on the same mind. I mean, we wanted to raise our kids
what you would call a good marriage. You talked, you were together, you had a deep relationship, you had all this. And then it just changed?
We had problems in our marriage probably for about 10 years. Not big, I wouldn't say big problems, just like.
Well, hold on, let me be specific. For 10 years, have you felt like you try to talk to him and he won't talk to you and you shut you out and shut you down? For 10 years?
Yeah, it's been worse the last 3. He wouldn't be as.
So what are you going to do?
Shut down.
What are you going to do?
What? I don't know. I want my marriage to work. I've been reading your books, boundaries.
Yeah?
I have, and one night he got very mad at me and said I was nagging. I sound like a little dog nagging at him. That would he please spend some time with us and the kids? That we need more time together. Right. And I wanted to say more, and I said no. I am not going to say any more because I want to think about it and I want us to come back to it. And he goes, no, you answer me now. You answer me now. And I go,
about what? What was the question? What was the question?
I know. I didn't even tell him the question yet.
No. He was saying you answer him. What was he asking? What was he demanding?
He was demanding me that I answer him what I want in our relationship.
You told me. You already told me.
Yes.
Okay. And, you know what? I think this is very, very complicated. Do you have another question specific about it? Because I'm going to give you kind of some thoughts.
I just want to know how to, stand up to him without always cowing down.
Okay. Are you in any kind of counseling?
No, I'm in a small group.
Okay.
With other Christian ladies, and I've talked to the pastor.
Yeah. What does the pastor say?
Let's pray for him.
That's it?
Yeah. And said he was going to reach out to him more.
Did he? Did he reach out to him?
He said that he don't ever contact him back when he reaches out to him.
Okay, I think that, and I don't know if your pastor, if all your pastors say, well, let's just pray for him. Maybe you need some more some different counseling in addition to that, because you got to get a specific plan that puts some sort of leverage on this relationship to move it to some action. Because you're getting stonewalled, he's saying, I don't want more than this, and you're going to be where you are. He's already told you it's not going to change. So you've got to give him some sort of reason for it to change. He's apparently content in it going on continually like it is, and that's not okay with you. So I would want you to go sit down with a different pastor. If you say, go back to your pastor and say, look, Reverend, I can't live like this. This is not good for our kids. It's not good for our family. And I mean, we pray for him, but it's time for some action. And I want to know, will you help me take a stand to redeem our family's well-being here, and what you're going to do to help me? Okay. And I want you to do something. And this may be a time where you pull in the elders and a few more people to confront the situation, but I need more than what you're doing. And if you can't give it to me, tell me, then I need to go talk to somebody who'll help me get a plan. Because right now, there aren't any consequences for him blowing off the marriage, right? And so he comes home and everything's fine, and he talks to you and everything's fine. I'm not suggesting this, but it's going to maybe get to a place where it looks something like this. Then you tell him, yeah, I do want to talk to you, but I'm only going to talk to you in the pastor's office with the pastor, and that's where we're going to talk. See, it may have to get to where you have a limit like that, and he's not able to just continue to do this. And he really realizes that there's consequences to blowing off his wife, because right now there aren't.
Oh, no.
And so I would get the pastor to try to help me, and if he didn't I find somebody that's got leverage with your husband, like some other friends, somebody has leverage, like the elders, whoever it is, because this has got to be brought to some sort of action point. Here's a wife and children that are being basically abandoned. And that's not okay for even a spiritual community to just sit back and watch. So I want you to go back to the counselor, to the pastor, and say you need some more, because you're going to need some help with some leverage and kind of, some, what would be the word? Something to bring this to some sort of where something good can happen. Okay, so
I told him I felt abandoned. I'm sorry, I didn't interrupt you. Did I say that? When you said abandoned, I told him that I feel like I have been, and we have been abandoned.
You have been.
I do. And he told me he had to do what he had to do. He didn't have any other choice.
Well, you have to do what you got to do then too. And what you got to do is you got to make an ultimatum that I'm not going to continue in this pattern. And the next time we're going to talk, it's going to be in the pastor's office. But I don't want you to necessarily do that by yourself, because I don't think you have enough support and enough people helping intervene. Look, a spiritual community is a spiritual community that has an immune function. It's like the body is what God calls it. The body of Christ has an immune function. And when one of us is falling off the path, then people come around and say, look, we got to intervene here and make this better. And I think he needs some help. I feel for him. He's got to be lonely. He's got to be broken in some way to be able to have this okay. And I want you to go back and do what I suggested, talk to the pastor and say you need more help. And if that doesn't work, find somewhere to get it. I appreciate your call. I'm going to send you the workshop that we have at Boundaries.me called The Art of Confrontation. And it'll help you maybe have that conversation in a good way. Okay, we are, what time and where are we time-wise? Where am I? Okay, we are out of time today. Appreciate all of y'all's calls and posting your questions. It's been good to talk to you again. We will be here next time. Will be tomorrow. we'll get to do this again. Let us hear your comments. Contact us. Tell us what you think. Pass on the program to your friends if you think it'll be helpful to them. You've heard something. Invite them into joining this tribe where we're developing herd immunity against dysfunction, one dynamic at a time. Remember, go to boundaries.me, check it out, become a subscriber. You way more depth than we go in on this program. It's not going to cost you a little more than a fancy cup of coffee every month. It's a subscription, and there's lots of specials that even bring that price down. So go join, become part of this.